to talk about toxic workplaces, and possibly not in the way that many people might have thought. And I'm going to jumble this all up because I'm not going to talk about any specific environment in which I've worked or any specific project I've worked on. So these examples are going across the last 10, 15 years. Because I don't specifically want to point the finger at any one company. The company that probably deserves it most no longer exists, so they've gone out of business. There are various things that can make up a toxic work culture, and some of them surprise me, and that's why I want to talk about them, because they may surprise other people. I'll start with the obvious ones, and this is from the company from over 20 years ago. It doesn't exist anymore, so that's okay. That one had the obvious toxic work circumstances. We were expected to work very long hours. I think the longest shift I ever did was 36 to 40 hours. We never got paid overtime. We were expected to work late nights, so evenings, weekends. I was horrendously underpaid. The stuff that I did was obviously undervalued, and in some cases not valued at all. Those are the easy ones. Those sadly still happen. This was 20 years ago. These things still happen these days. There are still people working 80, 100-hour weeks. There are still people working evenings and weekends. There are still people who you can't get time off, don't get holidays, etc. When I left that studio, I'd worked there for many years, and we accrued our holidays. Right? We were getting 4 weeks leave a year, and if you didn't take that, it got put into the savings account, and you get paid out for it when you left. When I left that company, they had to pay me out for 4 months worth of leave. Other work situations I've been in which have been toxic for different reasons. There was one job where I was being paid a lot of money, really quite a lot of money. And yet it was toxic for other reasons. And the reason why it was toxic is because it was badly organized. There was no design, there was no plan of what I was supposed to be doing. I literally just had to look at the game and figure out myself what I thought needed to be done. And quite often I'd look at a level and I'd go in and I'd make all the audio for that level because, that needed to be done. And I'd say to somebody, hey, is it okay for me to work on this level? And they say yes. And then that level would be torn apart and rebuilt. And then that would happen again and again and again. And it wasn't just me. There were artists and level designers working on this level as well. One of the levels in this game got rebuilt 9 times. Now you could argue, well, you're all getting paid for your time, and if the company can afford to just pay people to rebuild a level over and over and over again, that's their prerogative. Except no, it's really not. Because what that demonstrated was a horrendous lack of communication and planning. They didn't know what they wanted. They were just hoping that, if people built it over and over and over and over and over and over again, that maybe something would come out that they'd decide they liked. So all of these workers are hemorrhaging time, hemorrhaging their hard work. They've come up with an idea and it gets thrown away. So they come up with another idea and it gets thrown away. Sooner or later, you run out of ideas. More importantly, you run out of the will to come up with ideas. Creative work doesn't function in the same way as physical labor. I've done physical labor and you get exhausted. At the end of the day, you have a good sleep, you have a good meal, and the next day you're ready to do it again. Creative work just doesn't work the same way. You can't just come up with a brilliant AAA idea, have it thrown away, and then do it again and again and again and again. You bleed the tank dry. And you burn out people and people leave. And that particular project hemorrhaged talent horrendously. There were a lot of people who left that project, who weren't there at the end, who had been there at the beginning. A toxic workplace can take on many different forms. It's not just overwork. It's not just long hours and being underpaid. As I said, I was being paid, frankly, probably a bit more than I should have been. During one of the projects I worked on where I was being well paid, My stress levels were so bad that we had a spare fold-out bed in the lounge room, and 4 to 5 nights out of a week I would be sleeping there. So 60 to 70% of my life for 12 months was horrendous insomnia. I could not sleep. I was on blood pressure medication. A toxic environment can take on many forms. It's as simple as that.